Welcome to being incarnated on planet Earth. You are now gifted with the supernatural abilities because of our planet passing through a sector of the universe that activates God DNA within every man, woman, child. You are the new keeper of the flames of love. You are the keepers of supernatural powers when you invoke I am. And you are the gatekeeper of miracles.
Putting out a call to the warrior in you, to the healer in you, the king, the queen, the magician, the lover in you. Every single day, we are called to walk in our purpose. Answer the call. Lay down your burden and anything that holds you back and take your rightful place. The battle is everywhere. It's right in your face. Let's go.
Welcome to magnets, crystals, and pyramids. Success is your destiny. Yes. Love, wisdom, power. Remember, always who you are. Yes. Yes. I am love, wisdom, power. Yes. Yes. I am love, yes, power. Yes. I am love, wisdom. Yes. I am love, wisdom, power. Yes. Yes. I am love, wisdom, power. Master. Yes. I am. Yes. Love, wisdom, power. Yes. I am. Say to yourself. Yes. I am protected. Yes. Yes. I am. Master. I am. Yes. Greetings and welcome, family, to Magnets, Crystals, Pyramids. We got a special show for you tonight. Pardon my slight delay. I was doing an experiment and took me into trance. So we're going to bring on the guests. But before we do, we ride on the shoulders of our ascended master ancestors. So I am in me, I am in Donald Thomas, I am in Babalaji, I am in you, the listening audience. Thank you for being born. Thank you for being alive. Thank you for surviving conception and the stargate of your mama's birth of you into this stream time, lifetime. And the two most important dates are the date you was born and the date you realize what you was born to do. So we thank and invite Yeshua, Black Madonna, Mother Mary, Mary of Magdalene. We thank and invite Gatekeeper of Mount Shasta, Saint Germain. We thank latest Christ born in the Congo, Simeon Toko. We thank and invite Sheikh Amadou Bamba. We thank and invite Sanat Kumara. We thank and invite Buddha, Lady Buddha, Krishna, Lady Krishna. We thank and invite Nikolai Tesla. We thank and invite Enoch the Ethiopian, who ascended into the heavens and became Metatron. We thank and invite Archangel Michael, Raphael, Uriel, Gabriel, and we thank and invite Marcus Mosiah Garvey, Prophet Noble Jurah Lee, Honorable Elijah Muhammad, El Haj Malik El Shabazz, Chief Geronimo, Chief Osceola, Nat Turner, John Brown. We thank and invite Crazy Horse, Sitting Bull, Chief Seattle. We thank and invite our Hawaiian elder, Duke Kahanamoku, who taught Europeans how to swim and surf. We thank and invite your ancestors, ours, in the spirit of Ubuntu. Ashe, Aho, Donada, Wado, Amen, Amen. So let it be spoken, so let it be done. Donald, welcome to Magnets, Crystals, Pyramids, my brother. Aloha.
Aloha, good brother.
Peace, Donald. How you doing?
Peace.
Man, I gotta close the door, man. The steam is coming up because it's freezing here in Brooklyn, bro.
It is.
Man, look at that background. Bro, you look like you got a waterfall around you, man.
Well, I don't want to tell you it's about 80 degrees.
Yeah, tell us, man. Oh, man. Damn. That sounds great.
That sounds like paradise.
Yeah.
Brother, I wanted to just add one thing there as you were introducing there. You said, I consider it to be three most important days. The day you were born, the day you figured out why, and the day you decided to manifest what it was that you figured out.
Ooh,
And until
I
you
like
decide
that.
to manifest that, then everything else is just intellectual exercise. When you decide to manifest, then you are doing something.
I like that. Man, that, you know what? You look like you related to Laji, man. Y'all look like y'all kindred spirits right here. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can adjust this, man. You and Laji look a lot alike, bro. Look at y'all. Laji, look at that. That look like your family right there, bro.
You never know. We're all family.
Yep. Yo, I was just making some Anunnaki technology for the wrist, and then it put me in a zone, man. It just like knocked me out. So that's what, and then I said, oh shoot, I gotta start the show. But that's what took me out, you know, just like doing the trans work. Family, wherever you're listening from, you know, there's some people that actually listen from Hawaii that tune in from time to time, Donald.
Sure.
So wherever you are, put it in the comments so that we can post whatever city, whatever state, whatever country, and know that there's also off-planet observers on the surface dwellers of Mother Earth or Terra. So, Donald, what in the world made you decide to go all the way on the other side of the planet, brother?
Well, I don't know. You go back a ways. You know, the Tree of Life School was located on the corner of 125th and at that time Lenox Avenue, now Malcolm X Boulevard. I was the student representative for the Tree of Life, and I wrote a book which was my doctoral thesis titled The Philosophy of Divine Nutrition. I used that book in 1978 to do a Guinness Book World Record, in which I presented the information in that book for 93 consecutive hours.
Wow.
As a result of that, I wrote to several places that were promoting health and nutrition, and I had a place in Hawaii that made me an offer of 50% off as a direct result of having it documented that I did that record to promote whole food, plant-based nutrition, vegetarianism. So, you know, you make me an offer of half off, I'm on the plane.
Man, that is so cool, bro. That is so cool. I spent a lot of time in Molokai, bro.
Yes.
I just want to share family, the energy. And I had it was really deep. I had a call from a lifetime friend, and she started the phone call. I'm talking about a few hours ago. I didn't even tell her about the show. She just called me and started singing one of Is Kamaka Viva Ole songs.
Beautiful.
Kamalani. She started singing without even, I was like, Francis, I'm getting ready to do a show with Donald Thomas, who's in Hawaii. And she was busy singing, Ooh, Kali Louie, Ooh, Kali Louie. I was like, talk about supernatural. What's the weather like in Hawaii right now, bro?
Oh, it's about 78 degrees and sunny.
I'm surprised you ain't there, Lodgy. I'm surprised you ain't there when Donald Thomas went there.
JD just said I was probably there when he was there. You know, I mean, I done been to Hawaii off and on, so many times. But
Yeah.
I wanted to move there. You know, I had this girl tell me she was from Japan. I was telling, man, they took my passport away. I can't move. And she said something to me. She goes, that means God wants you here. You know, I said, I done been to World War II. She said that means God wants you here. But I'm asking for him to take me to that place. It might be back to Hawaii. It might be Colombia out there with Bufo Master. But we're going to see.
Yeah, that is so cool. Brother Donald, tell us about yourself, man. You know, like, let the audience introduce yourself to the audience, man. This is being recorded and it'll be up forever.
All right. Well, if you go to my website, it's newjumpswing.com. And that kind of gives you an overview of my nutrition program, fitness program, motivational program. You can break it down into two things. First and foremost, I promote whole food, plant-based nutrition, which would be considered vegetarianism. But I am also advocating from the same time healthy aging. And so from the earliest days of my writings, I was advocating what can be done to, if you will, slow down the aging process. You know, you can definitely burn the candle at both ends and speed up the aging process, but there's things that you can do that also slows down the aging process. Many years ago, there was a senator who wanted to, he advocated that maybe they should lower the requirement for Social Security for Black people because we have a shorter lifespan. Well, of course, that didn't go too far. But the fact that we do as a people have a shorter lifespan, higher rates of heart disease, cancer, diabetes, these are some of the things that I always talked about in my world record speeches. My speeches are based upon books that I've written. So my current book is called New Jump Swing, Healthy Aging and Athletic Nutrition Program. And basically it's a revised and updated version of the books that I use to break 3 Guinness Book World Records in public speaking on the subject of health. What can athletes and other people use for energy other than drugs? The same year I did my 93-hour record is the same year Brother Dick Gregory did his run from California to New York. And he attributed to his Formula 4X. That Formula 4X became the basis for the Dick Gregory diet. Again, he did his in the early part of 78. I did my 93 hours in September of 1978. And I came back to New York between 84 and 85 specifically to get involved with promoting Dick Gregory diet, primarily because it was an excellent opportunity for a large group of my community to be interested in health and nutrition. I'm still doing that, and now I'm a life coach, and so I work with people individually. When I talk about minority health disparities, that's a group issue. The solution is an individual issue. The individual has to be committed to making the changes.
This is a nice website, bro. I mean, we see you right here. You look like you're about, I don't know, Lodge, how old you think this brother looks in this website, man? I'll let Lodge, because you know he got a year or two on me. You know, what you think he is, Lodge? Look at that guy. Look like about 40 something.
Thank you very much. Your check is in the mail.
What you think, Lodge? You quiet, man. Where's Lodge at? Where you think he is, man? Seldom that Donald. It's seldom that Lodge ain't got nothing to say.
Well, the point, you know, as I said, one of the things I try to get across, especially to young people, I got involved in all of this as far as diet and fitness and so on. I've been doing this since I was 19 years old. And the whole point is that the earlier you get into these things, the more the payoff as years go by. You know, Brother Lloyd Strayhorn and I are very close. We've been friends for over, I don't want to say how many years, but the bottom line is that he and I always talk about the fact by getting into all of these things when we did, this is the payoff now. You know, men and women our age have a lot of different health problems and health issues. I go to the physical therapist, I go to the massage therapist, I go to the medical doctor, and they all tell me, don't tell people how old you are.
Or how young you are.
Again, you know, The massage therapists, they work on people in my age. The physical therapists, they work on people my age. And when they look at me and say, don't tell people how old you are, I consider that a great compliment, because it means that the things that I was doing, we're all going to die. But why should you die before your time, and why should you suffer needlessly?
Wow.
If somebody's telling you things that you can do to reduce your pain and suffering, why not?
You know, Hank just said it's seldom that I don't have something to say. I was saying something, but I didn't realize I was muted. You know, so I said I thought you looked 38, and then now you look like maybe 45.
I aged in a few minutes. Well,
cool.
you know, I can tell people I'm 71. I'll be 72 in September.
Damn.
Yo, man, you about the same altitude as Logi, man. Yeah. And I'm a few thousand feet from you. Shoot.
Well, like I said, I came here when I was 19 years old, and I recognized the value of not the air, the water, but also the environment. When you're in a less stressful environment, less air pollution, less water pollution, less noise pollution, less microaggression that you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. All of those things work on the individual. And so living in Hawaii, you know, as I was saying to a brother the other day, and it's not just from the racial standpoint, but Hawaii is one of the few states where white is not in the majority. And so they have to live with everyone. They have to learn how to respect the Asian, the African, and everyone else, because there is no one minority. There's no one group that is taking over everything. That in and of itself reduces a certain amount of microaggression. Approximately 40% of all the marriages in Hawaii are interracial. So you can't hate your daddy. You know, you can't, you know, so you have a lot different. Yes, you still have animosity because you're in America, but that racial animosity is nowhere near as thick as it would be back in the mainland. Yeah. All of those things helps you live a longer life.
Yes, it does.
That's
in fact, I saw when I was in Hawaii how the Hawaiians would check that I'm boss white attitude. They'd be on the I was telling Hank, they'd be on the line getting ready to check out their food. As soon as they come up to the line, they close the line. So you got to go to that line over there and stuff like that, just to keep them in deep check. They even had the mafia come out there and they took them to the volcanoes. They put one in the volcano and said, y'all two go back and tell your boss what's going to happen if you come out here with that bull crap.
Right. Oh yeah. Interesting fact, the Hawaiian kingdom before Hawaii was taken over by America was the kingdom of Hawaii. And one of the things I write in my book, the king of Hawaii, when he put the constitution, it stated any African who made it to Hawaii, you could not be extradited and they would not send you back. That was in the Hawaiian constitution.
Wow. I didn't know that.
And people say, well, how would an African get to Hawaii as a sailor? Because back in those days, it wasn't like the romantic projection that you have in the movies now. To be a sailor was a very dangerous occupation. And so that would be one of the ways that an African slave would be able to get to Hawaii. And again, if you jump ship, they would not send you back and they wouldn't let anybody come and take you back.
Wow. One of the things, Donald, Logi, family, that I want to share with you, when I was in Hawaii, when I first visited, I took a magnet, Donald, and I shared this with you on the phone, but I'm going to share it with the audience. And I also went to the first place was, I felt the energy when I got off the plane. So I went to like the sports, it was a sporting store that sold sporting equipment.
Sports Authority.
Say it again.
Sports Authority.
Sports Authority. Thank you. And I went there and I curled the 45-pound dumbbell and it felt like 30 pounds. And I was like, oh, there's something magical with the energy in this island, that this 45-pounder now feels like 30 pounds. So I took note, Logi. I took note, Donald. Family, I took a magnet and put it in the dirt. And when I pulled it up, a high-powered rare earth magnet. It had approximately 4 inches of iron hanging from the magnet. I said, this island is magnetically charged. Share with us, Donna, what you've noticed with people there in Hawaii, if they living good.
Well, I mean, again, if unfortunately, just like in the mainland America, the Native Americans, first people there, but they have some of the poorest health rates. Same thing here in Hawaii. The Native Hawaiians have some of the highest rates of heart disease, cancer, etc. So just living in Hawaii in and of itself is not what it takes. You still have to have a healthy lifestyle. During the war, they had a lot of canned meat. And so now Hawaii is the spam capital of America. And that's a local dish where they start off the morning with the egg, spam, white rice, and all of that. So that's why the native people have such a poor health. But in general, the people of Hawaii, again, you're not in the rat race. You are not styling and profiling. Yeah, you can buy $100 Aloha shirts, and the bankers and people like that, they do have it. But the bottom line is that you're not into that style and profile where you're trying to keep up with this one or that one and so on. So the atmosphere of living is just different. You are in much more of a cooperative environment as compared to a competitive environment. You still have to have your qualifications if you're going to work for, I retired after working for 10 years with the Legal Aid Society of Hawaii, where I exclusively did Social Security. I was a paralegal. But even as working with legal aid in Hawaii, the people have a much different attitude towards life, and they are just a lot more willing to work with you. And you're living on an island. It's like I always laugh. I said, if you rob a bank in Hawaii, where you going? If you can't get on that plane immediately, you're gonna get caught. Right. So there's a different attitude about things. Yes, you do have crime, but again, you don't have that kind of major crime. If I steal something in New York, I can get in my car or whatever, go to Jersey or Connecticut or whatever. If you steal something on one island, unless you can get on a plane immediately, you can't get off that island.
Yeah. I want to acknowledge a brother I met on the island of Molokai back when I went. His name was Bent Mine. He called himself Bent Mine. And Bent Mine was from Alabama. He was a martial artist. And I said, yo, Bent Mine. He was also a tailor. And I was like, why you call yourself Bent Mine? And he said, brother, what they did to my mind in Alabama, that's why I call myself Bent Mine. And he would live freely on the island of Molokai. I don't know if they're still alive. I know there was an island drum maker, big surfboard maker, Bill Capone. He's an ancestor now. I want to acknowledge also Hawaiian kahuna I had met when I went to Molokai, John Kami'ikawa. He's an ancestor. And I also want to acknowledge the ones who are hopefully they still having a ceremony, a Hawaiian ceremony called Hula Piko. I went to the Hula Piko. I had just happened to have a dream, Donald, and I went to the island of Molokai from a dream. What is mystical about Hawaii in your experience?
Everything.
Well, first, like I was talking the other day, when you look at the map, Hawaii is a landmass that is very close to the center of the earth. And so right there, you're getting the energy from the north and south pole of this planet. You are getting a sun that is constant. And so those things kind of allow things to grow nicer. Interesting point, though, because Hawaii is made up of, it's a volcanic island. I'm on the big island of Hawaii. There's only, maybe I'm showing you this, there's about that much topsoil in Hawaii. You have to buy dirt in order to grow things over here because it's mostly rock and so on, but that rock is volcanic. The big island of Hawaii is literally still growing because the volcano is constantly erupting and it's adding more land mass. So you're in a place that is literally still growing.
Wow, that sounds like Jurassic Park. For real.
Yeah, it's still growing. It's still growing. And again, when people talk about, oh, I heard the volcano, well, where the volcano is at, people don't live there. Now, there are places that flow can come up from under the ground. My wife works with some people where they live that it took over Leilani Estates. It took over many parts of their area. But in general, the volcano stays where it's at and the people stay where they're at. So you don't have to worry in terms of, it's like I say, if somebody says there's a fire on 135th Street and you live on 140th Street, yeah, it's a fire, but it's not directly coming to you. And that's the same way when you say, you hear the volcano going off, it's going off in an area that is relatively isolated from human population. But the island of Hawaii and the states of Hawaii are closer to the equator. So they're getting that constant sun. They're getting the equal parts of North and South Pole. People who live in the Northern Hemisphere, there's certain times of the year you're not getting as much sun. Well, one of the things I was talking to a brother the other day, I said, I watch television and I see even some African Americans, but their skin is pale. And their skin is pale because they're indoors all the time. They don't get enough sun. We are sun people. You need a certain amount of sun, not to the point where you are hurting yourself, but we need to get sun. There was a time when you and I were kids growing up, your mother had to call you in at the end of the evening. We're out there playing all day long. Now the kids are on the video game and everything else, they're not getting out. So they're not getting that energy. Vitamin D, there was a scientist who did studies with Black children to show that even as in childhood, we're not getting adequate vitamin D, which has an effect upon your bones and your overall immune system, etc. So these are some of the reasons that I came to Hawaii. But first 27 years of my life, I lived 11212 Brownsville. I am literally a dead-end kid from Brownsville. Mike Tyson grew up on Amboy Street between Sutter and Blake Avenue. I grew up on Amboy Street between Riverdale and Livonia. Those two streets are dead-end streets. And as I was saying to a brother, both Mike Tyson and I are listed in the Guinness Book of Records with a picture. So that just shows you how far you can go if you are committed to discovering who you are. It's one thing, and Mike Tyson said, I could be a boxer. It's another thing for him to put in the work that made him the youngest heavyweight boxer in history. And so that's the bottom line. You still have to put in the work. It's important, but it's the manifestation that makes the difference.
Wow, that's beautiful, brother. Well said. How many books you got, bro?
3. The one you see over there, that is the latest, called New Jump Swing, Healthy Aging and Athletic Nutrition Program. When you go to my website, you'll see the book. I have it in audio and I have it in downloadable form.
I'm going to pull it up right now so you can describe what we're looking at. Hold on a second. Family, like
you showed a picture of it earlier.
Okay, let me see.
Yeah, that front page. There it is.
All right.
So you can go to my website and you can download that book on ebook. Or you can also get it as an audio book.
All right, let's for you. Where's the books at? I'm at the front page of your website.
Yeah, so you just go down again. Okay, on my right-hand side, that's the book.
Oh, right here.
Yeah, right there.
New Jump Swing, Healthy Aging and Athletic Nutrition Program.
What's that supplement you got there?
The one supplement that separates my form of vegetarianism is called flower pollen. Now, if you remember when Dick Gregory had his program, he hooked up with a company called Cernitin America.
You're right.
Cernitin America was the American division of A.B. Cernel, which is a Swedish flower pollen company. Briefly, once you acknowledge the value of whole food plant-based nutrition, then you just have to kind of go to the source. The source of all plants is seeds. The source of all seeds is flower pollen. Now, you can either have flower pollen that is gathered by bees, which is called bee pollen, or you can have flower pollen that is gathered directly by humans, which is also flower pollen. The difference between the flower pollen that was with Dick Gregory and the flower pollen that I sell now, just as a seed has an outer shell, flower pollen has an outer shell. The flower pollen during the days of the Dick Gregory diet, they use a chemical process to break down that outer shell. The company that I deal with is called Graminex. They use a enzymatic process to break down that shell. And so I consider it to be even a cleaner product. The whole point
Oh,
of flower pollen is that pollen, it fills in all of the gaps. If you grow food on land, if the land is depleted in any given minerals, you're not getting everything. You grow food in the ocean, you're going to get those minerals, but then you have to be concerned about water pollution and things of that nature. Flower pollen kind of makes up or supplements any sort of diet that you are on by giving you the very foundation of what all plant foods derive from. And that is the distinguishing factor. My program is called PDN vegetarianism. PDN stands for Philosophy of Divine Nutrition. I love how much you were in the beginning were talking about the divine. And Philosophy of Divine Nutrition is the basic concept of mine that looks at every holy book has something to say about diet, longevity, herbs, and even bee nutrition for that matter. Every holy book has something to say about what you can eat that's clean, what you can eat that you shouldn't eat. Philosophy of Divine Nutrition is an analysis of those concepts. Again, the Tree of Life sold all of those books, be it the Bible, the Bhagavad Gita, the Quran, all holy books. And you'll see that kind of that distinguishing factor among all of those books is that they were all telling you how to eat to live.
I am so glad to hear you speaking about flower pollen because Dick Gregory, he was with it and then he dropped it, and then there was the radioactive thing that happened in Russia, and flower pollen, we didn't hear any more about it. And so for you, tell us about that, man.
The company that I deal with comes out of Ohio. It's called Graminex, and they harvest their own. So it's organic, no pesticides, no residues, things of that nature. There was a time that I used to sell it in tablet form, but even now I only sell it to my clients. Again, I'm a life coach, and so I only sell it to my clients, and I sell it in a powdered form. So this way there's no excipients, there's no extra things that they have to add to make a pill. It's just the pure pollen itself. But again, that flower pollen is something that will make up for whatever is missing, even in your diet, even if it's a whole food, plant-based diet, a vegetarian diet, vegan diet, it will make up for that. Or it will add those things that are missing. And so that's the reason that flower pollen is kind of the foundation of what makes up PDN vegetarianism. And these are things that you can see on my website. You don't have to buy the book for that information.
I'm pulling your website up now because I'm interested in getting. And listen, this is an audience that's into health, Donald.
Yeah,
beautiful.
We want to know how to look like you when we do the right things that we know we should be doing. So flower pollen. Now, where on the website do you have the flower pollen? Where?
He's on that part where we just saw where he brought the book up. It was right to the left. Or to
exactly,
if we was looking at it from our side.
Say that again.
Go back to where we was pulling up the book, and it was right on the left
front page.
PDN.
Yeah, go back to that. Okay. Now go down.
Yeah, there.
Okay, now that's the flower pollen in the. But you say I only sell it to clients, but that is 2.2 pounds without fillers. So that's just the pure pollen, nothing else. When they make a tablet, they have to add little things to it, magnesium stearate and other things to make the powder flow, so it doesn't gum up the works. Anytime you make a tablet, any kind of tablet, what I prefer to do is just have the pure product itself. And as I say, this one I only sell to clients, but if you go online and you just look for Graminex flower pollen, you can buy it in tablet form if you choose to.
Wait a second now. Hold on. We didn't hit the jackpot tonight, brother. What does it require for us to be a client of yours? Because I would like to get that 2 pounds right there from you, because you have just resurrected the flower pollen info, and I want you to get your percentage. Now, how do we become one of your clients and just order from you, or how you got it worked out like that?
Got it worked out like that. First and foremost, you have to buy my book, By buying my book, then you will understand exactly what my program is going to teach you, where I'm coming from. Once you've read the book, then you can decide, okay, I want to be a client of yours. Once you're a client of mine, then everything that I have is yours.
Hank, you know I've been gathering up stuff to do my 40-day fast, right? So my wife just heard what he said, right, about the flower power. She goes, "Are you gonna buy that too?" Because I'm just gathering up everything over here, you know. You gonna buy that too? You know,
Oh, I'm going to buy that. I'm going to tap into this, Donald.
One of the things that you might want to do before you actually start your fast is if you can get more and more into even things that will help you. Basically, you don't have to take a laxative per se, but I want you to kind of purge your system more before you even get into the fast. Get into really purging your system. Fig juice, prune juice, anything of that nature to really clean yourself out. The more you do that, then as you are doing your fast, you'll feel more energy. Definitely, if you're going to do a fast, which we can refer to it as a fast, they don't recommend just trying to live off of water. But if you're going to include other nutrients and so on and reduce the physical bulk that you're putting into your body, you're going to feel much lighter in the first 2 days or so. You know, your body will have to adjust to not eating a lot of food. But once you've done that, you'll see a big difference. You know, I explained to people, my first Guinness record was done September 18 through 22nd, 1978. That's 5 days. Okay. What did I eat to be able to do that? It is documented. After 93 hours, I had enough energy to jump rope and talk coherently to the news reporters. I was covered on every TV station in New York City back in the day. And so every world record that I do is for philosophy of divine nutrition is the philosophy behind my health and martial art. The name of the martial art is New Jump Swing. Martial arts require demonstration. And one of the things that always impressed me about martial arts is when you see the old guys in China still able to go into the parks and give demonstrations of their art, even as an older man or woman. And so from day one, my thing has always been about giving demonstrations. I claim to have a diet that will give you more energy. I hold 2 Guinness Book World Records in after dinner speaking in the name of demonstrating what you could eat for dinner that would give you enough energy after dinner to break a record. Average American dinner after Thanksgiving, after Christmas, after you finish eating, you want to go to sleep.
Yeah,
that's right.
I used to do 5 colonic, you know, either once a week or straight, you know, but my colonic therapist passed on to the other side. But, you know, I always clean out first. And for a while, when I was doing the fast, I do an enema a day because after that eating, right? At first I do the colonics, then after that, the end of the day. I used to get sick around this time of year. Well, you know, between November, December, because all the junk we eating, right?
Yes.
I was many years ago. I was down and out, and one of my boys, he was in the real estate. He should have been a doctor. He said to me, "How you take care of yourself?" I never took a colonic or an enema before that. And he said, "You need to go to your sister, man. She's a colonic therapist. Go ahead, go to her." And I was feeling so bad. It was just before Christmas. I go to her, and so she put me right on the table. I'm on there for hours. She said, no wonder you sick, Logi. You're literally filled with shit.
Literally.
And the very next day, I was like, I wasn't jumping up, but I was feeling healthy. I mean, all the sickness gone. And the next day after that was Christmas Eve. So I was able to travel to Philly, which I was planning to go. I mean, after that, the only time I got sick was if I wanted my wife's attention. You know what I mean? That was it. But yeah, so this is a 40-day fast. So I decided to do 40-day fasts every year. So far I've done 3, but I did many other fasts. And the as far as cleaning out the gut, if you're not cleaning out the gut, you're in bad trouble.
You're in bad trouble. You're in bad trouble. You got to start with the gut. As you were talking about, you used to get sick living in New York from October to around March every year. My nose would just close up. My sinusitis would get to me. And before I got into health, I'm living off of nose sprays and all of that, which is no good. You're burning a hole up in your septum. And one of the things that the community knows about is milk. It is not something that milk is not for adults, and it certainly is not for us. You know, one of the things as far as minority health disparities, African Americans, Native Americans, Asians do not have the enzymes to break cow's milk down, even though some Scandinavians may have that. And even in certain parts of Africa where they are herders, where they herd the cows from the get-go, but that's a different kind of milk. I know Manu Cole said when he came to America and he drank the milk, he couldn't believe it was watery. It was nothing like what he was used to. So one of the things that people, if you have sinus congestion, lung congestions, and so on, even things like ear infections, eye, ear, nose, and throat, it's all connected. If you get rid of all of that mucus, take white flour and milk, you can make Elmer's glue. Okay, and so that's what you're doing. You're gluing up your works with these things. And as time goes on, that's why the first thing I always want people to do is read, educate yourself, know why you are not eating this, know why you are eating that. The more, as they used to say, an educated consumer is our best customer. And so my thing, there are many people who are promoting health and nutrition. They were looking first and foremost to develop a following. I was looking first and foremost to qualify myself as the best teacher that I could be. If you go on my website, you can download my resume to see how many years I've been involved in mental health, disability rights health, things of that nature. Because anybody can read a report. If I can give you a real quick presentation about something, and the brother showed it up there already. There were 4 people standing at the foot of Mount Everest. The first person was a celebrity who was filming a public service announcement extolling the beauty and grandeur that is Mount Everest and imploring people not to pollute it as they ascended and descended the mountain. The second person was a PhD who has written extensively on the geography, topography, and climate changes that occur as you ascend and descend the mountain. The third person was a medical doctor who has examined more people who have made the climb than any other medical doctor. And the fourth person was a Sherpa who holds the Guinness Book World Record for climbing Mount Everest more times than anyone else. Now, when you get ready to actually climb Mount Everest, which one of those 4 people do you have the most confidence in can take you to the top and bring you back down to the bottom?
Sherpa.
I've been the world record holder in the name of whole food, plant-based nutrition since 1978. When you hear about athletes who are now changing their diet, I'm in the Guinness Book of Records 1989 Guinness Book with a picture for speaking on the subject vegetarian athletic nutrition. I'm in the 1986 and 87 Guinness Book for speaking on the subject the history of herbs in maintaining physical fitness. So my whole push has been to qualify myself as a teacher who does more than just talk it, walk it, I jump it.
That is awesome.
My wife, can I buy his book? She's shaking her head, messing with me.
See what you just did, Logi. That whole thing. When you got to do that, man, I'm like, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. But you know, funny, huh?
Well, ask the wife, can I buy a book?
Yeah, that's when I'm like, wait a minute.
Now, hey, the reason my wife is so good is because I treat her bad. You know that. So you're laughing. You know we talking truth now. I'm kidding, but yeah, I told her that, and then the worst thing I ever did to my wife, because I was telling her, if you treat a woman bad, she gonna love you. And then one day, this is after a few years, so one day she goes, does that apply to men too? If I treat you bad, will you love me more? And I thought about it. I was like, should I tell her? And I go, yeah, that was the worst thing I ever did. That was the worst thing I ever did. I should have never told her my secrets, Never told her my secret, because she took advantage. You gonna love me, boy. So she started treating the brother bad. But
okay.
Well, one of the things I said, if you're a married man, this year I'll be married 30 years. And so you have to, and so it takes work. And one of the things I said to my wife even before we bought this house, I said, if I have $1,500 extra, I'm not going to spend it on advertising for my book. That goes for a mortgage payment. Okay. And so I'm the type of guy, I'm going to take care of business first. By me breaking those records, I'll always be the record holder. And I have my website, which right now I'm working with someone to make sure that I'm search engine optimized. In the martial arts, it said, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And so the most important thing I can do is be the most qualified teacher I can be. But all people, when you're married, you have to kind of compromise on certain things. There's a lot of things that I wanted to jump and get. I said, no, I think we have to go pay that electric bill, or we have to go take care of the plumbing. But I'll be, my thing will always be there. And as I said, as you always and very much aware, as our community becomes more and more aware of these things, you become more and more aware of me. Okay, I hold 3 Guinness Book World Records. All 3 were done in Harlem. Now that in and of itself, if you're Black and you've read anything on anybody promoting health, you should know who Donald Thomas is. As I said.
Do you know the Thomases that's in Harlem?
No, I know a brother that you're talking about. I can't think of his first name, but I know the brother named Thomas. I have met him years back.
Malik. It was got Malik, Hannibal.
Hannibal Thomas. Hannibal.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the Lincoln Projects. It was in the Lincoln Projects. They whole big fan. There's 12 of them.
All right.
He's big into Egyptology. So
yes.
Who was you studying with, Dr. Moore or Kanye, or both of them?
Well, actually, I came into the door. Kanye's the one who sold me on all of the books.
Okay.
Dr. Moore was my actual teacher in herbology. That's who introduced me to bee nutrition. The first time I ever heard of flower pollen was Dr. Moore. Wow. And one of the things I always give acknowledgement to the teacher, the Guinness Book of Records gives you a 5-minute rest after every completed hour. For that 93-hour record, I had 92 5-minute rest breaks. Dr. Moore was in my corner, all 92 of them.
Wow.
Father was in Brooklyn, never showed up. Teacher was with me the whole time. And so that's one of the reasons that I always say, as a young person, don't get hung up on who you think is supposed to be there for you. Who is there for you is supposed to be there for you. And that's who you work with. If you're a young person and you're trying to make it to be an older person, if you find any old people that's taking an interest in you, sit down and listen to them, because they know something that you don't know. They made it already to the age that you'd like to be. Okay? I don't care how much you think you know. You didn't make it to their age yet. So they know something that you can learn from. And as I say, Dr. Moore was a man with 4 years of formal education. I would go to City College of New York, and then after I left, I would come down to the Tree of Life. And as soon as I would listen to that man, I say, this man has just as much knowledge as any PhD up there at City College in his own way. Okay, he was what the Chinese referred to him as the barefoot doctor. They were herbalists and they were healers, but they just didn't have formal education. So even though Dr. Moore only had 4 years of formal education, he'd take you to any park in America, tell you what you can use the leaves for, the bark for, the roots for, and he had it, you would say, an encyclopedic knowledge of his study, which was herbs. And that was so much an inspiration, because here I am, I'm going to City College and I'm going for a college degree, but I'm sitting here listening to a man with a 4th grade education, but I acknowledge his genius. I acknowledge his knowledge, even though he may not have the proper diction or he may not come off the way those professors do. I can see the genius in him. And again, the man taught me enough to be listed in the Guinness Book of Records for speaking on the subject of herbs. So that's how much I got from him.
Yeah. I remember Dr. Moore having the whole audience laughing while he educated us.
Yeah.
That's right.
Special acknowledgement to Sister Daya, Lenny Berg, because they had the studio that was on 125th that Dr. Moore would work out of.
Wisdom Temple.
Wisdom Temple.
Wisdom Temple.
Sister Daya and Lenny Berg.
That's right.
And I remember seeing you, Donald, at the New Yorker Hotel. I think it was the New Yorker Hotel with the New Life Health Expo, and you was popping off you was doing the jump roping while I was walking around. I seen his brother jumping rope, Laji. I saw him jumping rope, family. And then when I came back after checking out all the vendors, he's still going at it. I was like, damn, like what's he running on?
Well, again, one of the things that I really wanted to get across is that they have done studies to show that African-American man in Harlem has about the same life expectancy as people in Bangladesh or third world countries. Really? Trying to get my brothers into this, you have to take it a different direction. And so by doing something that is more athletic. And the brother says, well, what's giving you the energy to do that athletic activity? That will kind of pull him more than just me trying to sit down with him and talk to him. Shortly after I did that first Guinness record, I taught school in Brownsville for a year. And I taught in a special education. These were kids that got kicked out of the regular school because of drug use, truancy, etc. And I never forget, one of the young brothers looked at me, they called me Rev. They said, Rev, I know plenty of black people who push drugs. I never met a black man who pushed health. I'll never forget him saying that to the day I die, because obviously it made an impact on him. The fact that he was looking at somebody from Brownsville who wasn't telling him to take crack or heroin, but telling him to take flower pollen and drink more water. And I taught 2 classes. I taught physical fitness and I taught health. And the first thing I would do, like I say, get them into the physical fitness, get some of that energy off of them. Then I could sit them down and teach them something in terms of health and so on. But the idea is, by me being a man that was involved in something physical, it gave that young brother something that he could relate to and he would not be afraid of. And obviously, like you say, I wasn't jumping rope like a little girl. Okay, I'm jumping rope like a heavyweight boxer.
You look like a boxer bouncing up and down,
that's what
holding that rhythm. I remember, man.
Okay, that young brother from the street, he wouldn't be ashamed to pull that jump rope out and jump it the way I was jumping. And if he wanted more energy as he's jumping, then he can say, well, Brother Thomas told me about A, B, and C. So that was the way that I'm trying to work this thing into my brothers and sisters, a way that they can relate to it and they don't feel funny or ashamed or somebody's going to talk about them or anything, which, I mean, some people are going to talk about you regardless, and you don't worry about that. If you decide you're going to stop smoking and drinking, the people that you used to smoke and drink, we're going to have something to say to you. But the more you understand why you are not, the more you can love them, pray for them, and keep on doing your thing.
So you know that same brother that was telling you about you the first person he heard, he's probably selling drugs himself. And the deal, when we were coming up, there was nothing but big brothers all around us, volunteering, giving us, but things have totally changed. When the 80s hit, things just changed. Everybody was going after money. But we had big brothers in the center, in all over the place, coming back to feed the young brothers in the community. And I think our generation, for the most part, fell. I'm not saying any of us 3 on this panel, because I know that that's not the case. But it is not the plethora of other brothers that was coming back. They was coming back from the war, or the military, or this, that, and the other, and they was dropping it like it was hot. And they was online, even though we might have veered off. They'd be like, "Look, my brother, let me hip you to game, and just tell us, and and so because a lot of times the father wasn't there, and I ain't gonna say it's the father's fault. What I'm going to say, it was an inability to, I should say, the loss of how to pick a good man.
Okay.
And I was talking about this today on what's going to be, I'll be going to be put on the website. But where I really think that we should be going in light of all that you're doing, all that Hank is doing, and I wish he just please get somebody to videotape all these high-powered tapes that we have once, twice, or 3 times a week. But this treasure chest of these programs like this one right here, they gotta be someplace put, like Clemson Brown. No. What Clemson that was in Brooklyn? He just passed away, Hank. That he did what you doing now, getting all these high-powered programs.
Oh yeah, that was Minister Clemson Brown.
Mr. Brown, like that, because this is that. You had all these programs, all these spiritual jamming. He be talking about me not knowing the what do you call it, the internet and all like that. He was just making a joke every week. Every week I get a joke from Brother Hank. You gotta say this, man. This is a treasure right here. I mean, this is such a treasure that if the Chinese came in here and took over this country, you'd be dead.
Donald,
yes.
I want to go back to your website, and I want you to touch on and tell us about this flower pollen, because I haven't heard about flower pollen since Dick Gregory was alive, man.
Since Dick Gregory, yes.
So tell us what hold on a second.
That's it.
Introduce introduce to folks, an overview about all the benefits of flower pollen, because nobody in our community is talking about it since Dick Gregory was involved with it, Donald.
Dick Gregory. And so, yes, so really, as I say, what it comes down to, first understanding, well, let me go back to say to people, if you come from the South, if you come from the Caribbean, then if you go back no more than, say, 50, 60 years, what they now refer to as vegetarian or organic or whatever, that's how the people ate in general. The people always had a pot of greens on the stove in the South. The people always drank sea moss and things of that nature as a regular part of their diet. When they now acknowledge the value of whole food plant-based nutrition, flower pollen is the very foundation of all plant foods. Even before the seed comes the pollen. And so that pollen has all of the nutrients known and nutrients unknown, because no man can reproduce a seed, stick it in the ground, and it grows into anything. The pollen is I like to call it the OG of nutrition. Everything starts from the pollen. And you can stop right there and you see, go back down real quick there. So you see one of the things, stop. In Europe, flower pollen, as well as in Japan, is recognized and is used for prostate issues. African-American man has one of the highest rates of prostate cancer and prostatitis. It has also been found to be helpful for women when it comes to urinary function, for the immune system, for liver support, and menopausal support. So flower pollen is good for both men and women. And it is something that you don't have to take in the form that I sell it. Per day, you only need approximately a half a teaspoon to a teaspoon, based upon how many milligrams have been found to be of a therapeutic. It's not like you have to stick it up to your mouth and drink tons of it every day. I sell it. If I wanted to just make money, I could say, yeah, take as much as you want. But the bottom line is that you only need approximately a half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of the powder. And the idea is that this is going to fulfill many of the things that are missing in any food grown on land, as far as nutrients are concerned, and even things grown in the sea, as far as nutrients are concerned. And so again, the pollen that was during the days of Dick Gregory, they used a chemical. As you see there, number 2, it says solvent free. They don't use a chemical to break down the outer shell of the Graminex pollen. They use an enzymatic action so that, as I say, it's a purer extract of the flower pollen itself.
This is powerful, brother. Keep going.
It's been used for literally decades in Europe and in Japan. Among the people in the world with some of the greatest longevity, the Japanese have one of the greatest longevities. And they are using various herbs, herbal teas. They're definitely, matter of fact, this company, Graminex, I asked them, I said, well, who's one of your biggest importers? And they said, Japan.
Wow.
And so, right. And so, if you say to yourself, okay, I want to live a long and healthy life. Let me go look and see where are there places in the world where people are living a long and healthy life. They just had, if people have Netflix, they have a special on the blue zones. The blue zones are places in the world where the people in general live to be in their 90s and in their hundreds. The blue zones is in Okinawa, was in Sardinia, was in, and one of the main places here in America is among the Seventh-day Adventists in Loma Linda, California. Right now, Seventh-day Adventists in Loma Linda, California, they're considered to be the only remaining active blue zone. And what they mean by active, the old people in those other places, they're some of the last ones that's still eating the way they used to eat. The young ones coming up in Okinawa, I think there's 5 Kentucky Fried Chickens on the island of Okinawa.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So that westernized diet has made inroads into all of those places where the people are living to be 90 and 100, except the Seventh-day Adventists in Loma Linda, California. Now, I'm not saying what they take as flower pollen is concerned, but they as a group are on a whole food plant-based diet. They believe in exercise. They believe in camaraderie and things of that nature. So once we can see where other people are doing it, you can make your home a blue zone. Get yourself good air filters for all of your rooms. Get yourself good water filters so that you're drinking pure water, be it zero water or distilled water. I don't use distilled water to just drink. I use distilled water to make my herbal teas and other things, because that distilled water is going to give me the best extract from the herbs that I'm making the teas from. But just air and water. If you don't remember anything else I promoted today, get yourself a pure water filter or a zero water filter. Get yourself air filters that you can have in your homes. If you have rugs in your apartment, try to get yourself what they call a HEPA filter vacuum cleaner and vacuum those rugs on a regular basis, because all the dust from the ceiling falls down in there. Every time you walk, you're kicking that stuff up. And so this contributes to your respiratory illnesses, eye problems, and so on. And so just pure air and pure water. You don't remember anything else I said, focus on those two things. And you will see a difference just in those two things alone. You'll sleep better. You wake up in the morning, you won't have your eyes won't be stuck together as much. All of these things just by improving the air quality and the water quality within your home. And of course, as I say, if you don't have to buy it from me, the Graminex flower pollen, if you get it in tablet form, you can go on the web and you can get it in that form as well.
Donald, I'm in total agreement with you about the water quality. I use a 5-stage reverse osmosis, and then Excellent. I use a machine from a man who was an athlete also, and he's still pumping iron, JohnEllis.com.
He's still pumping iron.
Tea-wise, I'm drinking, and I always promote, let me put it here on the banner. This is an ancient Egyptian tea for rejuvenation called Kinkaliba.
Very good.
This was a drink that was used by the ancient Egyptians, and they say that basically is being held down throughout most of the countries in Africa. They call it kakaliba, and this is a rejuvenation drink, and they have it here at the African stores, and I drink it throughout the day. And I just finished making up some water because I got to make up some more tea. And when a brother looked at my eyes, he was like, "Wow, your eyes look good." You know, the iridology check.
That's right. That's right.
Because I drink this, and I encourage the audience to drink this throughout the day, not just once a day. And Muslims break their fast by drinking this tea, and this is used in Senegal, Burkina Faso, Nigeria, Ghana, and all the African countries. They drink this, and the French said, "Oh, this is a rejuvenation formula," because when they colonized Senegal, that's what they was interested in. So I got to take my swig right now, man.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, as I say, just like, Dr. Moore used to always talk about it. People used to talk about, oh, this is spookism, this is rootism. But then the little hippie white kids, the form celestial seasoning herb teas, sold at the craft for millions of dollars. The same things that our people in the South and the West Indies were using on a regular basis, or they told that was bad. But then they took it over and patented it, and now they're selling it for big bucks. Herbal tea is a multi-billion-dollar industry today.
Wow.
Yes, it is a multi-billion-dollar industry, herbal teas, just that. And so, as time goes on, we as a people, a brother made a very good point one time. He was talking about it, and I've seen this here in Hawaii. The African people are the only people that they get to try to disavow our original culture and our way of doing things. People here in Hawaii, they could be Chinese, Japanese, they could be Christian, but they still recognize they're great philosophers, they're great teachers. We're the ones that are taught that we should disavow our philosophies, our teachers. And as I always say to people, if you are fighting a man using tactics and skills that he knows, you need not be surprised that he can beat you. Chaka Zulu didn't use tactics that they knew. That's why he could win, okay? As long as you're going up on this man using tactics and plays that he understands, then he's always going to get you. And we have the originality. I talk to people about, you look at the brothers in basketball. People have been playing basketball for years. The brothers come along, they bounce it a little different. You pass it a little different. You shoot it a little different. They have to make new rules. That is a living example of the creativity of our people. We're just not applying it to what we need to do it. To what we need to get ourselves together, but the creativity is there. Black people don't work together. Look at those brothers pass the ball behind his back. Don't even know where the man is at, but he can pass it right to him. That's how much we can work together when the time comes. So we have to appreciate our originality, our genius, and apply it to what is really going to bring us up in this world. If not, we'll always be behind.
Well, that's what they want.
That's excellent. You know, we can, like I always tell Logic, you can't feed the beast, man, with your spoken word. Donald, question: the community in Hawaii, the brothers and the sisters, how is the network collective? Give us an idea what it's like to be on an island, and you got the brothers and the sisters being part of a unique tribe. What's that experience been like, brother?
Well, to tell you, I came to, every island is a little different. So Oahu is like Manhattan. The Big Island is like Brooklyn. And they're not connected with a train. You have to take the plane to get to each one. So, back in the day when it was real cheap, I used to go back and forth a lot. When I first came to Hawaii, there was a woman who could tell me every Black person on the island, on the Big Island. She could name them, okay? You can't do that anymore. On the island of Oahu, there's something called the Popolo Project. Popolo is Hawaiian for dark. And they have a group that meets regularly. Again, I'm not on that island, and so I don't interact as much as I used to. I used to be one of the second vice presidents of the NAACP in Honolulu back in the early days and so on. But the Black community in Hawaii is very unique in that, from a standpoint of education, African Americans on the island, in the state of Hawaii in general, recognize they have a slightly higher academic standing than most other places. Because when you come here, you got to come here with some kind of skill to make it, and so that right there kind of brings people up. But the community is still evolving. You have permanent residents among African Americans, but then you also have many people within the military. So they may be assigned and they bring their wife or their children for the 2 years or the 4 years or so on, and then they go. So that Black community in Hawaii is somewhat, ever evolving, ever changing. But they still have, as I say, you have the Popolo Project, you have other projects in Hawaii that acknowledges the relationship. I was on the bus one night before I had a car. A Hawaiian brother was sitting next to me, and he looked at me and he said, "You, me, we brothers." Just the way he said it. It's just the way he said it. Wow. The bottom line is that a dark Hawaiian is referred to as a royal Hawaiian. If you go and see it, if you go look at the pictures of the original, they call them the Ali'i. Those are the royalty of Hawaii. They're dark people. They're dark. They're not light-skinned dark. They're dark people. And one of the things that they told some of the Hawaiian royalty, when they got ready to come to America, they told them, when you get on the train, speak Hawaiian so people don't think you're Negro.
Yeah.
Okay. So, so there is the Hawaiian sovereignty movement, certainly, as I was saying, they're going into their roots, they're going into their culture, and they can see what the original Hawaiians look like, and they can see them as a dark people. And so, when I came to Hawaii, one of the first things I was doing, I was working with handicapped people here in Hawaii. Here I am, a Black man, roll up to the Safeway with a Hawaiian woman, Chinese man, local woman, et cetera, et cetera. So, of course, everybody knew me real quick. But what is he doing? As soon as I came to Hawaii, I showed the people that I came to contribute to the community. And so I've had a fantastic time. American Heart Association recognized me as a master teacher and a master performer in rope jumping. And they sent me to more than 60% of all of the schools in the state of Hawaii to promote nutrition and physical fitness. And I was sad about that, only because being in New York, I've only been invited to 2 schools in all of these years, and as I say, first school I went to, I couldn't get out of the school before they wanted my autograph. Yeah. And so that just shows you, they wanted my information. They wanted my knowledge. As I say, they paid for me to go to every island and to give talks and jump rope demonstration on every island. As I say, more than 60% of all the schools in the state. And so, like anything else, we have to see the need to get our lives together. We have to respect one another. I don't have to agree with everything you say. You don't have to agree with everything I say. But if we can come together on the general understanding that we as a people have to improve our health, that's a good way to start. You can't join the military if you don't pass the physical. So when you want to fight the powers that be, if your health is not up to it, even though your spirit may be very willing, the flesh is weak. You're not able to survive long enough to hang in there long enough to see the job through. And so this is one of the things that I always try to promote. A sick soldier cannot win a war, regardless of how committed the soldier may be. If the soldier is unhealthy, he can't last.
Quite naturally.
So that's Duke. Yeah, that's Duke Kahanamoku. But if you can go back and go to King Kamehameha, you see the first, if you go to pictures of King Kamehameha, you'll see a dark man.
Yeah. So Hank, you talking? Hank, are you speaking? Can you hear him?
His sound went down. Okay, I heard that.
You know, like when I was out in Hawaii, I went to help him on the building project. You know, you can just volunteer. And
Yes.
I think I might have told you that. So when I go to rent a car, you know, they gave me one license, you know, to rent the car. But then they saw it was me, the guy that, you know, the black guy coming to help them build the thing. They pulled it back and gave me a whole nother, the Kama-Aina car rental license. And so they will deal with you different. But I found they don't accept you just like that. But when you prove yourself to them, they take you right in.
Well, you know, because people in Hawaii come and go. And so they want to see if you're going to stay. Once they kind of see that you are committed here, then they will open up to you more. But if you're just a tourist, in no sense getting but so close to you because you're going to be gone in 3 weeks,
right.
You know. But if they see that you're going to live here, and as you did, if you come and you immediately show that you're trying to contribute to the culture, oh, they'll accept you very quickly.
Yeah.
Now that is the first king, King Kamehameha of Hawaii. If that man was walking down the street in Harlem, you think it was a brother.
Of course. Truth be told, the brothers in America didn't look like Tonto. They looked like just there. When the invaders came in here, they called themselves settlers. They looked like this here in the Americas. And they tricked us into thinking that we coming from Africa. And nobody ever thought to, I mean, not that there wasn't some, but nobody ever thought to themselves, why would they go all the way across that perilous sea when they got millions of people to enslave right here?
Mm-hmm.
We did not.
Even the queen, the last queen of Hawaii.
Yes.
And she was like a sister.
Yes. Liliuokalani. Yes. I mean, you know, this is some of the most important things. Yes, Queen Liliuokalani. And that's the whole point. And you see a picture of her. So people have to realize Micronesia, Melanesia, Polynesia. Micronesia is small islands. Melanesia is dark islands. And so people from Fiji, if you see Fijians, just like another brother or sister walking down the street. Okay. Polynesia means many islands. And so, you know, as I say, we traveled many places. It didn't have to be ancient aliens. We had the knowledge to travel to all these places and do all of these things. It didn't have to be space aliens.
Right. Yep.
This
is where the public school system fails, you know, with this so-called integration, dream of integration. This is the failure that folks just don't know. They don't know.
Just don't know.
Look at this sister in her youth. Look at this.
Can you make it bigger, Hank?
I'm trying right now. Can you see? Hold on, family. Hold on. This is the queen of Hawaii in her youth. Can y'all see it?
It's so tiny.
You need to make it bigger.
Okay, hold on. Oh, wait a second. Let me see if I can make it bigger. Hold on. I got this one. Let me make sure I got it so you can see it. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna pull it up again. I had the wrong page open. Here it comes. Bam! Here it is.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Look at this, family. Look at that. That look like that could be your grandma.
That's
your
right.
great grandma.
That's right.
Come on now. Look at this. How come y'all don't know this?
There you go.
That's one picture. That's another. And that's the Europeans. They got her dressed up like a European here. Look at that face. Y'all see that face? Look how dark them faces are.
Right.
Yeah.
Look at her. How many folks from Carolinas got mothers, grandmothers and great-great-grandmothers she resembled?
Like that.
Exactly.
One of their smartest moves was to rob us of our culture, our history. Because then they tell us we was this and we was that we wasn't.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, if I write the books, I can say whatever. I mean, right now, for example, Republicans will tell you that January 6th was just a ceremony. There was no riot. There was no nothing in the January 6th. So that just goes to show you in contemporary times how he who writes the books can make up his own history and give you an account completely different than what things really are. So this is why you really have to do a deep dive. You have to do a scholarly search into these things. Even when you get a book, just don't follow that one book. I always say to brothers and sisters again, nobody who is a doctor only studied under one professor. No one who's a lawyer only studied under one law professor. You got to do a deep dive and get a good general knowledge of these things. And then, as they say, take what you find as useful and incorporate it into your lifestyle, and let your lifestyle be that's the testimony to your knowledge. To have the knowledge, again, 3 most important days: the day you were born, the day you figured out why you were born, and the day you decided to manifest what it was that you figured out. And until you manifest what you figured out, very often you're going to be depressed or hostile or irritable, because you've got the knowledge and nowhere to put it. You don't know how to apply it, even though there's many brothers that have knowledge of self, but they don't know how to start to apply it so that they can uplift themselves. They have the knowledge, but they don't know what to do after. Okay, now that I've got the knowledge, what do I do? How do I improve my life?
Donald.
And again, as a life coach, that's where I'm coming from. I started off as an attendant on the ward, working in the mental hospital, and a psychology major at City College of New York. I went on the way up to be an executive director of a mental health agency, the statewide coordinator of mental health services. And so the whole point, that had nothing to do with the Guinness book. That is everything to do with my concept of motivation. My profession was in mental health and disability advocacy. I started off at the bottom, entry level, to go all the way up to being executive director. And that's what I'm talking about with people, how to get started. The greatest step is the first step, but how do you get started? How are you going to improve your life? From a nutrition standpoint, nutrition and fitness will give you the energy to do whatever it is you want to do with your life. Now, what is it that you want to do with your life?
This is an antique picture of a Hawaiian with an afro and a goatee with a loincloth on the beach getting ready to go surfing, fam.
Getting ready to go surfing. Very likely that's Waikiki.
Yep. Look at that. I'm trying to make it bigger so y'all can see the afro. So y'all can see you're supposed to know how to swim. Donald, you know how to swim?
Yeah, I went to, they don't even have the school anymore. I went to Tilden High School in Brooklyn. You had to pass swimming to graduate.
Oh, man, I know where that's at.
Yeah.
So cool.
Samuel J. Tilden High School. Now, I don't go surfing. That I'm not a surfer, but yeah, I do swim.
Oh, that's cool.
All
man.
that stuff they took out of the schools, shop, home economics, things like swimming and that kind of stuff. That's so deep. They just decided we're gonna take all that out of the school.
Take all of that out.
Well, that's because you know they don't want you. Look at this. This is another old Hawaiian picture. Oh man, I gotta let y'all see this. Let me see if I can. We are everywhere. All
Every
right,
this was our planet.
we are everywhere.
We are everywhere.
Hold on, let me pull this up. I gotta pull this one up. Let me
When you
let me
go
get
to
this.
the Polynesian islands, Hank, you see kinky hair and all the people out there.
Solomon
Bigger
Island.
afros than you and I ever had.
Yeah.
You know, Samoans have big afros you like bigger than you ever had. You know, so I mean, you see it. Like I said, I was sitting on the bus and the brother just looked at me and said, "You and me, we brothers." You know,
Yep,
so they know.
yep. Look at them swimming in the water. Look at these. Look at them. Vintage Hawaiian stock. Hold on a second. Here it is. Look at this picture here. Let me see if I can open this up a little more. Look at this. You thought pool parties are something new? Look at this. Look at this. Look at this, family.
Yeah.
Nothing new.
Nothing new. Y'all can see this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at this.
If it wasn't for the Lone Ranger, this is what Native Americans would be looking like. Or we would realize that this is what Native Americans would be looking at.
Look at that. Look at this. When I was in Hawaii, Donald, Laji family, the kahuna said original Hawaiians before they mixed with Europeans were like 15, 20 feet tall.
What?
Well, you know, I don't whether that has been said, and you know, even Captain Cook, when he came to Hawaii, he wrote that the natives were tall and strong of stature. Whether or not they were that tall or not, he documented that they were tall and strong of stature.
Wow.
Now the Native Hawaiians have some of the highest rates of cancer, heart disease, etc., diabetes, etc. Same thing with the brother Elijah was talking about as far as Native Americans. You are dealing with people who were strong and tall of stature. They got decimated. You know, not only were they victims of physical genocide, but cultural genocide. And that cultural genocide demoralized the people. And that demoralization caused them to go into drug addiction and crime and everything else. Because, I mean, for example, people who watch television, how many times have you seen in the last month a Native Hawaiian or a Native American on anything on television? So they're invisible people. So now if you were a part of that group and you were watching TV or you're looking at American media, you don't exist.
Right.
You know, we used to talk about the fact that even sometimes when they show you a map of America, they don't include Hawaii. You know, it has to be a map that is complete. So, you know, the more that we understand the psychological damage that has been done to us, when you feel bad about yourself, you're not going to be as motivated to take care of yourself.
That's right.
And that's part of the, you know, I say this and I say it to the family because I'm talking to my family. Why should nigga change his diet? Why should bitch stop smoking? If you're looking upon yourself in those frames, you are not motivated to take care of yourself. And to this day, to 21st century, Richard Pryor is the man who popularized the use of the word, and Richard Pryor stood up and said he was wrong for doing it. And he realized that he was wrong for doing it. That word was a part of our wretchedness. And if you are still calling yourself something wretched and low, it's not going to be easy for me to get you to change your diet and get into your health because you're looking down upon yourself.
Well, I'm lucky I got Hank because anytime I say the wrong thing, he's always there to tell me.
That's the point. But no, words are things, and you are programming yourself with those words. And when you are using those words, you are putting yourself down. You can't lift yourself up and put yourself down at the same time. And as long as you've got those words in your head, it's programming you. It's programming you. It's programming you. And that is one of the things is the first night I did my record, I pulled out a book, and the book was Can You Live to Be 100? And I looked at the book and I looked out at 125th Street and I said, Donald, not only do you have to convince them that they can live a long and healthy life, you have to convince them that life is worth living.
You know, Don, I want to ask you a question. We see a lot of vegetarians, a lot of vegans and so forth, right? But we're not seeing them live long. They're dying as fast as, the meat eaters. And I'm thinking, especially the air in Hawaii. I mean, we consume more air than any other thing. So,
And it's dirty air.
what you call it?
I said it's dirty air. You know, if you're sucking up air in New York City, you're sucking up a whole lot of exhaust fumes and everything else. They find that in the Chinatowns of America, it's usually industrial areas or areas where there's a heavy diesel fuel traffic. And in Asians, even though they have less heart disease, they have more respiratory illnesses because their environment is more polluted when it comes to the diesel fuel and things of that nature. But going back to your vegetarian and your vegans, this is one of the things, you know, brother, as long as I have been doing this and I have contacted various vegetarian and vegan organizations, they don't even want to acknowledge me.
Who don't want to acknowledge?
Why not?
You would have to ask them why. You would have to ask them why. They don't even want to acknowledge me. I have sent my information I went through Google and sent my information to everyone who identified themselves as Black vegetarian or Black vegan. They don't even acknowledge me.
Probably because you look younger than them.
You know, among other things,
man.
Okay, 1986 and 2011, I did something that I have yet to see anyone else who's promoting nutrition do. I have a 3-page copy of my blood work from clinical laboratories in my book. I don't say my diet is healthy. Here's my blood work. I'm not anemic. I'm not B12 deficient. I'm not iron deficient. I'm not vitamin D deficient. And here's something respected that lets you see that. And so I can't tell you why the Black man who holds 3 world records in Harlem and people who are promoting health don't want to acknowledge him. But as I stand here looking you in the eyes, I'm telling you, they have yet to do it.
Well, you're always welcome to come here and blow it up. Like Muhammad Ali said, look at me, I'm still pretty. I'm still pretty. You know? Yeah, he was in your face, you know?
Yeah. Well, you know, again, when it comes to a lot of these diets and so on, they're following an individual. A brother said it to me in 1978. He said, Donald, when you did that record, you showed up a lot of people. He said, you have a lot of people who are following various teachers and preachers who, as far as they're concerned, those teachers and preachers are the last word on the subjects that you broke the record on. And when we saw you on television after 93 hours still jumping rope and could talk, you weren't saying that you were the last word, but you demonstrated that there was a word that had the right to be heard. And for those people who are following someone as the last word, you'll always be a challenge to that. So if you ever come across people that come at you funny and you never met them before, you need to know why. And that's why. Yeah. Brother said that to me November of 1978. And from 78 to today, I can tell you that there's no Black vegan or vegetarian organization that has ever acknowledged me as a world record holder from Harlem in the name of health. None.
Well, there's a brother named Charles White on YouTube right now, and he is being so honest about the unresolved issues in our community. He said our broken folks hate to love and love to hate, and that's something we got to break. We hate to love and love to hate, and he's the only one who said it. And I'm like, you know, so-called conscious community, they don't want to deal with that big ugly elephant that's in the room, and you bringing this up, shoot, don't get me started now. Don't get me started.
Well, you know, go ahead, brother. What you gonna say, brother?
What's that brother's name again, Hank? I want to write down so I can check him out.
Charles White.
Charles White.
Yeah.
But see, that whole thing of hate to love and love to hate, that goes right back to the whole concept of, regardless of how we may dress, we still have a lot of negative attitudes towards self. Okay, we still have a lot of negative feelings towards self. And you know, America, you were talking about reverse osmosis, the water filter, and I've used that as an example of America. When people make the statement, anyone can make it in America, well, from an individual standpoint, yeah, you can make it, but America is like reverse osmosis. For every 3 to 5 gallons of water that goes up on that membrane, only a gallon comes out the other end.
That's true.
And so that's the whole point. You know, America is very much based upon rugged individualism. And some of us have taken that individualism so that we're individualistic and we are very competitive because of that. we're going to make it. We figure, it's like a gentleman said to me, when I first started doing this, you remember the guy, the Galloping Gourmet? You remember the TV show, The Galloping Gourmet, Graham Kerr, The Galloping Gourmet? The man who actually owned the rights to The Galloping Gourmet, his name was Wilbur Freifeld. And he came to my first book party. And after I came to his office, and these are the things he said to me. He said, the flip side of the coin to racial discrimination is racial tokenism. They'll keep out as many as possible. And the one or two that they let in, they'll give them everything. So when you have people that are very selfish, it's because they're looking at themselves as the one or two that the society is going to let in. So they're going to be very protective, they think, of that, but that's part of the problem, is that there are many of us that know that society, they only have room for one or two at a time, regardless of what it may be. And so that's a part of what keeps us from being able to really work and support each other, because it's all about that individualism as compared to some sort of collective improvement.
Well, that's why I always say the word Ubuntu. And that Ubuntu means collectively. There's no me without we. There's no you without the collective. Ubuntu, family. This is where we got to change that Willie Lynch syndrome to collectiveness. Collectively, we can do it together. Donald, I'm blown away, man, about this flower pollen. Thank you for resurrecting that information. I got pine pollen sitting over here in the bag, but I remember Dick Gregory going hard about the flower pollen, and then afterwards he dropped it he just dropped it, man.
Well, unfortunately, the brother's he was a good brother, but if you were following Dick Gregory at the end there, he had dementia.
Yeah.
He was suffering from dementia, from Alzheimer's. And I was a little upset, only in the sense, celebrity is a little bit different, because I was saying, you mean to tell me nobody that's working with him, at some point you got to tell granddad it's time to give up the car keys. And when he reached that point where he was talking out his head or talking a lot of different things, somebody should have been in his orbit to be able to say, don't destroy your legacy by doing these things. It's time for you to go on and sit down and benefit from all of the things that you have contributed to your community and so on. But unfortunately, as I say, evidently there was no one there that could really pull him and say, it's time to sit down. From the Dick Gregory diet came, he had a company called the Correction Connection, but that didn't last for too long. And I'm not really sure why, other than even during that time, I know some people that were involved in it, and he was getting a little hostile. Some of the early aspects of Alzheimer's, they can get nasty.
Yeah.
And that's not enough oxygen. Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, all
they can get nasty. And the brother said that one Sunday, Dick Gregory was up there, just every other word out of his mouth was a curse this and a curse that, and it turned off a lot of people and so on. But his knowledge and what he did in the early days can never be taken from him. But it's just one of those things that, it's documented that in his later life, he was suffering with dementia.
He was working with Paul, what's the comedian, Hardcore,
Paul Mooney.
Paul Mooney. He was working with Paul Mooney doing, shows, and I was close to them, like his cousin, and she was telling me he was kind of losing it. So yeah. So so this is important, and what you were saying, brother, as far as some of the vegans or vegetarians don't look healthy, I'll put it to you like this. That's why I worked with the Heart Association. That's why I worked with medical doctors. That's why I could put my blood work in my book to show you that what I'm doing makes me healthy. Not just because I say I'm healthy, or listen, I've seen people on drugs with beautiful skin, but what's their blood work like? And so when I put a copy of my blood work in my books, that's to say to my audience, not only do I practice what I preach, but here's the outcome from a clinical standpoint of what's going on. As I say, I went to the doctor about 7 months ago, and the doctor said, gee, I never see you. I said, that's because I only come once a year for a checkup. She said, but very good. And then when she came back with the blood work, she said, oh, for a man your age, this is very good. We don't see this. Okay. And so, it's just one of those things, the payoff to do it. I got started in this when I was 19.
So I say to any teenager, any young man or woman, the payoff to so-called health food is when you get to be older, you won't have as much pains and strains. You'll be able to do the things that you want to do. I'm a Social Security advocate. I tell people all the time, don't work hard all your life just to wind up giving the money to the doctor and the pharmacist. Because now you've worked all your life and you're burnt out. And the only thing you can do is go to the doctor, the pharmacist, church, and the supermarket. And maybe sometimes you get somebody to go to the supermarket for you. Because now you've got all of these pains. African Americans have some of the highest rates of disability. So this is not something that you can just say, well, if I don't want to get into it, no big thing. If you don't get into it, you got a world of hurt looking at down the line. Not because I say so, because it's been documented. So we really want young people to see the value of taking care of themselves. You know, when you're young, I saw a little boy running in the street and he fell down. He looked up at me and got up and started running. I looked at my wife and said, if that was me, I'd still be there.
Yeah.
So the point is, you can get away with a lot of things when you're young. Okay, you can party all night and drink all night and then get up and go to work with an hour worth of sleep. But people have done it. Okay, but when you get to be a certain age, all of those things start catching up with you. And so youth is the time to get into your health, your good health habits that you can develop when you're a young person. You don't have to be super strict, but if you stay relatively strict, it'll pay off for you. That's the payoff.
I'm glad you're saying that, Donald. And you know, you got me reflecting between you and Logi. Every person I know, male and female, who only look at the broken side of life, I see that they start looking like they broken and they start having serious health issues.
Sure.
Because they just focus on the negative things that has nothing to do with them directly, but they look at these things and I see, and I'm just reflecting like how many people I've known, family, associates, and every time I get on the phone with them, they talk about all
something
the
negative
travesties and how it impacts their health, their tissues, because sound is right up here by the brain. It'll make the hormones and bend and twist according to whatever you say. And then I know people who always live on the side of beauty, in the spirit of what in Hawaii known as aloha.
Aloha.
You know, they say keep that mainland attitude out of here.
On the mainland. Let's keep it on the mainland.
Keep that mainland attitude and live in aloha. And if you don't live in aloha, they'll pull you over and check you. I saw that happen in Molokai. The Howleys would try to have that, what they call mainland
attitude, and they'll correct you real quick. You know, you don't change Hawaii. Hawaii changes you or you leave. You know, I've seen many professionals came to Hawaii and they thought they were going to teach the people how it's supposed to be done. They're not around. None of them are around. The ones that I started off with in the profession of mental health, they had an attitude that they're going to show these people how it's done. None of them are still around because you don't change Hawaii. Hawaii changes you. And so that's one of the things to always take into consideration. The environment is designed to provide you with a richness of spirit. If you want to come with that negative spirit, you got to go someplace else.
Oh, I shared this with Logi, and I'll share with you, Donald, and the family. When I was on Molokai, it was the first time that I was outside of the little humble health food store, and I saw this European woman of origins. She came into the health food store literally with a glowing white aura. I hadn't had no weed. I hadn't did no drugs. I was eating some kind of health bar, and I just saw this woman walking into the health food store with a luminous aura. And I was like, wow.
Yeah, well, Hawaii is a place that would draw those kind of people. I mean, you know, whether you live here for a long period of time or you're coming to get spiritually and physically regenerated, recharged. You know, from the sun to the air to the environment, it's invigorating. It's recharging you. A good brother came one time and he said to me, he said, Donald, I was walking down the street and I was walking in back of this white lady and she never turned around. Okay, as a black man, that's normal. Okay, and that's the first thing when he came back. He said, I was walking down the street and I was in back of this white lady and she never turned around. That's the difference in the microaggression and the type of environment that, and he saw that the difference in that environment, he could just walk that street and be himself and nobody was looking at him anywhere different than anyone else. So he saw the difference. Just that environment is such that it will change you. If you, a brother said to me when he first met me, he said, yeah, I knew you was from the mainland because you was walking so fast.
Wow. Wow.
You know, I had to get away from that New York minute. You know, New York, you know, everything is New York minute is 30 seconds. You know,
That
and
is
so
funny.
and of course I came with that energy. But you know, I still have that energy, but I apply it when I need it. In general, you know, hey, kick back. You know, that's the way you have to be. So listen, brother, I just wanted to wrap up in terms of my book is New Jump Swing, Healthy Aging and Athletic Nutrition Program.
Let me put that up here. Put your banner, man. I'm having a good time with you here, brother. I just got to put your banner up.
You told me an hour. This is an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah, this was great. Go ahead, talk about it.
So as I say, so my website is newjumpswing.com. I have a great deal of information that is free on that website regarding nutrition. I have another aspect of the website that deals with minority health disparities. So you can pull the menu down for African American health, Asian American health, Native Hawaiian health, Hispanic American health, and so on. And you can see the sort of things that are impacting your specific community when it comes to health and why these things are so important. I am a life coach. And again, as I said, you first have to have a copy of my book before you decide that you want me to be your life coach. As a life coach, I work with people on fulfilling their goals in life, whatever that goal may be. If you're interested in going for Social Security is the only type of law practice that you don't get paid unless you win. So if you come to me and you want questions on Social Security, there's no charge to that whatsoever at all. If you want me to represent you, then I sign you up, and only if you win, then I have the right to bill you. Of course, I give information on how to be a healthy vegan/vegetarian. Just because you say you're a vegan, you can eat vegan junk food. You can eat vegetarian junk food and things of that nature. Vegans and vegetarianism, just because they're vegans and vegetarians, doesn't automatically make you healthy. You still have to include all of the different necessary things within your diet. Just that picture, that's my backyard.
Wow.
So again, I live on the Big Island of Hawaii. I live in the Pahoa side or the Hilo side of the Big Island of Hawaii.
Can I play this before you go? Can I play see what you're saying?
Sure, you can play it.
Aloha. There were 4 people standing at the foot of Mount Everest. The first person was a celebrity who was filming a public service announcement extolling the beauty and grandeur that is Mount Everest and imploring people not to pollute it as they ascended and descended the mountain. The second person was a PhD who's written extensively on the geography, topography, and climate changes that occur as you ascend and descend the mountain. The third person is a medical doctor who has examined more people who have made the climb than any other medical doctor. And the fourth person was a Sherpa who holds the Guinness Book World Record for making the climb up Mount Everest more times than any other human being.
God bless the Sherpas, man.
Now, when you get ready to actually climb Mount Everest, which one of those 4 people do you have the most confidence will be able to take you to the summit and bring you back down to the base?
There you go.
The year 2023 represents 51 years that I have been practicing whole food, plant-based nutrition.
That's tight, man. I got restrictions with I'm on probation, brother. So I don't want to violate YouTube rules, even though it's you on there. So that's hot. That's hot. And I was just looking at Logi. I was just looking at how many, Donald? Hundreds of people have died and their bodies are still up on Mount Everest.
Yes,
Hundreds.
yes, yes. That's a fact. That's a fact.
They
You know,
leave them there because it's like
yeah,
too much trouble. It'll
it's too
kill
much
you to bring
struggle.
them
Yeah,
down.
yeah. You just frozen in time.
You
Yeah.
frozen in time.
There's
So,
an actor who got frozen time. He was the lead hit player in this movie, but man, I forget the name of it. He would go up by himself, and he's still up there now. They found his body, and I don't know if they brought it down or not. But he was an actor. I forget the name of that movie. It was really good too. He just, that's not a good thing to do alone.
no, not at all. Not at all.
And then
No,
they got the island. They got the mountain called K2, and it's
yeah.
moving. The snow is moving, and it don't matter if you have your ropes or not. And like 11 people die at one time. They had recently another dozen people where the ice is moving, and it just take you all the way down to avalanche with or without the rope.
You know,
I'm like,
nature is great, but you have to respect nature, and there's certain things that you can do and certain things you have to say, well, why would you want to do it?
That's
You
what
know?
I say about that mountain climbing.
Right.
Would you
You know,
want
why
to-
would you want to do it? You can, they got gyms that you want to develop your upper body strength, you can go to the gym and use those things, but why would you want to put yourself in that kind of peril?
Yeah.
Just to say you did it?
Yeah.
You know.
I got one special request, Donald. When you get a chance, if you get a chance to go with your camera to take some video of the big waves that you see along the pipeline, not that you got to be in the water, just take a picture of the beautiful big pipeline. They call them pipeline.
Bonsai pipeline. My wife was born on that side of the island.
Oh man.
Yeah.
40-foot tall waves,
40-foot
man.
waves. Eddie would go. The Eddie is a surfing contest. They have to be at least 30 feet in order for them to do that particular thing. That's wild too, but you got to know what you're doing. I mean, you know, not just anybody get out there because you
got to just say hello to Mother
hello.
Ocean.
That's right. Let's sit on the sand and watch them.
Just watch.
Just
because
watch
those waves will make you disappear, and they'll never find you. But it's beautiful to behold.
Yeah.
Donald, if I want to get your book,
yes.
I gotta contact you on this because I want to get your powder. So contact you through your website.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and as I say, the book is downloadable, both audio and ebook. This year I'm working on the physical books, but you know, if you've done any kind of self-publishing nowadays, it's cheaper to go ebook and audio book and just to have a bunch of boxes of books in your house. You know, you can't sell them unless. And as I say, I haven't been back to the mainland in quite some time. Everybody keeps asking me when you coming back. I said, well, I'll never say never. I'll never say never, but I have no plans right now. But if it's for business, as I say, for the Dick Gregory diet, I came back for 1.5 years. So it's not a question of I would not come back, but I come back for business. But in general, I'm right here.
One more question. Go ahead, Lachie.
I ask myself all the time, why did you leave? You know, I mean, not you, me.
You, I know what you meant.
You came here to stay for a while with your boy, you know, because I went with my guru all the time. And I just wanted to go back just to see how live there would be. And I mean, I always ask myself, why did you leave?
Well, you know, it takes a while, and not everybody can get used to the island living. Some people get what they call island fever, where they feel like they're closed in and they can't. But, you know, I always say, I'm from Brooklyn. Other than from Brooklyn to Manhattan, how many times was I traveling out of the borough or whatever? But there's some people, they just feel like, oh, I'm right on this island. Well, there's planes, there's jets, you know, you can leave. And, you know, it's like anything, just like people come from another country and come to America. On their way coming to America, they had a plan on how they were going to make it here in America.
Yeah.
Same way. I tell people, I got on that plane with a one-way ticket in my hand. I had all intentions of making it in Hawaii. And that's the attitude that you have to have. Yeah. And again, you know, I worked with handicapped people. I had some people that wrote me letters, say that there was openings for that kind of work. I did substitute teaching in the schools. And so, before I got on that plane, I didn't have some sort of idea of how I could make a living for myself. But as I said, I came to Hawaii with a one-way ticket. I had no intentions of going back. I had all intentions of making it.
And I like that. That's awesome, man. And I want to thank Lloyd Strayhorn for the connection. Thank you, Lloyd. I've known Lloyd since the early 80s, bro.
That's right. That's
Known him
right.
since
Oh, yeah, Lloyd. And, Lloyd is another beautiful example of a brother that's a numerologist. I met Lloyd in the 70s. That's the only thing Lloyd has ever done.
Yeah.
Okay. So that shows. So the man must know what he's doing, because that's how he pays his bills. That's how he takes care of his family. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And he's another one that among the people that should be more known. Well, I'm so happy that he's got it all together now. He's streaming, and he's got his own app and everything else. And that is just fantastic. And that's another example of being able to take what you know and build upon it.
Yes.
And it's not going to be, unless you're rich, you're not going to be able to do it overnight. You've got a rich daddy, you write a book, your daddy can have all his friends buy enough books to make it a bestseller out of the box. Okay. If you don't have a rich daddy, then you're going to have to sell those books the old fashioned way, but you can do it just the same. And so network. I tell people, don't compare yourself to people who have a budget far greater than yours. I found out I have books on rope jumping written by people who never jump rope. I have books on vegetarianism written by people who weren't vegetarians. They were professional writers.
Wow.
But they had the backing. They had the publishing that could push their book. I use my books to break world records. That's how I was able to push my books.
Yeah.
Okay. But as I said to people, I didn't have a shoestring budget. I had a broken shoestring budget. It's $600 entry fee for the Guinness Book of Records. I never had more than $500 total for any world record that I went for. And that's why I always say to people, it's not the money, it's the woman or the man.
Yo, so can you share with us, what month was you born, brother?
September 21st, 1953, 4:15 p.m. Brooklyn.
Yo, listen, he's a Libra. You're a Libra, or you on the cusp?
I'm a Virgo, 29 degrees Virgo.
Wow.
So
yeah, I have a Capricorn rising, 29 degrees Capricorn rising, moon in Pisces.
I can see
Oh man.
So see, the 29 degrees Capricorn rising, that's what makes me a record holder. That's what makes me go for world records.
Oh, really?
Jupiter and Gemini, that's what makes me talkative.
Wow.
Yeah. So I always invite people. I said, if you're heavy into this, I'm going to give you my information, and you come back and write me and tell me because I went to Lloyd Strayhorn. Lloyd Strayhorn didn't say to me, you're going to break a record and you should do this many hours. I went to Lloyd Strayhorn and said, I'm getting ready to break a record. The record is 72 hours. What's the best numbers for me to go for? That's where I got 93 hours from.
Wow.
Every record that I have done, I have used a numerology. And like I say to people, the numerology doesn't, just because the moon is in the right phase doesn't mean you're going to break the record. You still have to train. But technically, if you are using all of those other metaphysical principles, it should work out better for you down the line.
I got one question to ask you before you leave. Flower pollen, what's the most amazing testimony you have ever gotten from somebody taking flower pollen?
An individual who was considered to be anemic, and they were even to the point where the doctors were giving them B12 injections. And they said to me that they took the flower pollen, they still took the B12 injections, but they took the flower pollen, and approximately 6 weeks later, their blood test came back, and the doctor was shocked to see how just about everything had leveled out for them.
Wow.
That's what I say about being a vegetarian or a vegan. You don't play name that tune with your nutrition. There's some people that try to act like the more things I eliminate from my diet, the healthier I'm going to be. And that's not good nutrition. You want a broad range of foods that you can take so that you're getting all of the nutrients. When you start limiting your diet, you're getting more likely to be deficient in things as compared to having a broad spectrum. And again, the flower pollen helps you kind of fill in all gaps. You got this good sister up there, Sister Yana.
Queen Yana.
I know Sister Yana from the Wisdom Temple, with Dr. Moore back in the 80s.
Wow, small circle, man.
Small circle.
Yesterday.
Small circle.
There she goes.
So we're giving you acknowledgement, Queen Yana. Looking fine there, lady. Look at her picture. Looking good.
She looked
Looking
like
wonderful.
she's in Hawaii. That picture right there. Look at her glowing. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Well, yeah,
Oh,
so the flower pollen, you know, as I say, I'm not Dr. Oz. I'm not going to make statements that I can't back up, but I can say to people that the flower pollen is something that is used throughout Europe, throughout Japan. The flower pollen is one of the best things individuals who are on any sort of plant-based diet, along with B12, can take to make sure that they're getting adequate nutrients. And the reason that Dick Gregory, of all of the companies that Dick Gregory could have signed with, he signed with a flower pollen company. So that would just let people know what he saw, the value of that flower pollen in relationship to nutrition. He could have gone with various different companies. He settled with that flower pollen company. And so that just kind of establishes where that pollen is in terms of nutrition.
You know, that's how I remember about flower pollen. I didn't know anything about it till I heard Dick Gregory talk about it.
That's right.
And I remember when he was promoting it, and I was like, wow, flower pollen. I heard, you know, other kind of pollen, pine pollen, you know, but I had never heard of flower pollen. And he was
Pine pollen is a form of pollen, but the Graminex flower pollen is a purer form. It is a more concentrated form. It's the real thing.
How much is your pollen? The 2 pounds.
Probably I can't discuss that on YouTube. Email me or text me and we'll talk about it.
Okay, cool.
Because then we're getting into sales and so on, so I don't want to mess it up.
Yeah. Don't, you know, Laji, when you start your YouTube channel, you're going to have to find out all the rules that you can't do. Unalive.
I'm learning from you now. Every time I make a mistake, he definitely, see, today he made it very subtle. He just looked at me like, man, I told you not to say this before.
Yo,
say that.
because they had my channel knocked off more than once.
Yeah. But see, with me, when somebody asks, when I start talking about different things, it's not that I'm promoting a product. I'm telling you what I use to break world records. So when I talk about the different herbs, these are the herbs that I use to be able to break world records. When I tell you about flower pollen or jumping rope or whatever, this is what I actually use. So it's not a question of me doing a commercial push. I'm giving you a testimony of exactly what I used.
Maybe this stuff will go away because I was listening to a YouTube channel yesterday where this guy that does the Facebook, I don't remember all their names. He was saying the Biden administration was calling them up, cursing them out.
Yo, you gotta be careful even saying that now, Laji.
Kidding. Really?
Yeah, you gotta check the rule book, man.
Yeah.
He's still in office. Wait till you get out of office. Nobody's disagreeing with you. It's like, look, just keep them away from here, like dirty flies.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Well, you know, brothers, this has been so inspiring to me. Again, by me being away, for me to know that there's brothers and sisters out there back in the world, as I call it, that have picked up on all of this and are running with it and doing what they can, you know, that just makes me know that it's out there. What I said to people is that very often there are people who try to build a following. My game plan was to make myself as qualified as possible. Now that there are people who recognize pollen, well, here's the guy who holds the record for talking about it. Now that there are people who respect herbs, here's the guy listed in the Guinness Book of Records for talking about herbs. Now that people respect vegetarian athletic nutrition, here's the guy who holds the world record for talking about it. So by me working on myself, being the best teacher I could be, when this knowledge comes into play, and again, I say it to my community, no Black vegan or Black vegetarian organization has ever been willing to even acknowledge my existence. So I'm putting it out to the community today. Why?
Well, here you have a VIP. You can come back and drop the aloha funk anytime you want. Because we need to know, need be, we could do an exodus with a canoe that flies or a canoe that floats. And we'll be in your backyard saying mahalo.
Well,
brother, no prophet was acknowledged by his own people in his own time.
in his own mind.
And to get even worse than that, Hank, I'm just trying to say look at what they did to Jesus.
No, Marcus Garvey.
If he going to get it like that, what we going to expect? He ain't do nothing but good, and look what they did to him.
That's right.
If the more good we do, expect the worst.
Hey, just because you must have just came in, because the website is at the bottom of the page, scrolling from right to left. So just look at the website below, and I'm just going to make sure that it's also in the show description, because this was great, and I'm going to tap flower pollen from you, bro.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna use it on my fast. So I
Brothers, it's been terrific. I'm very, very, very honored to have met with you today, and it's really inspiring to me.
Yeah, man.
The pleasure, the feeling is mutual.
Yeah. I want to thank all the audience who've participated in this gathering tonight, and thank you, those now and in the future. I want to thank everyone, and we're going to close out. So again, in the spirit of aloha, which means love or the heart, we say mahalo, which means thank you, Donald, for giving us a panoramic view from the Pacific Ocean island of Hawaii. And to all our Hawaiian brothers, our Samoan brothers, Dwayne Johnson, he's Samoan. Look how big that dude is. He must have grew up on a whole bunch of coconuts. And to our Solomon Island brothers, we just want to acknowledge all of y'all. Peace out, y'all.
Peace. Aloha.
Peace, y'all.